You ever wonder why your grandparents actually looked forward to flying? Well, back in the day, flying was glamorous, relaxing, even exciting. Today, not so much. In this video, we're counting down the top 10 reasons why flying used to be better. Hit that like button, subscribe, and let's board a flight into the golden age of aviation. Number 10. Airports were stress-free and stylish. Today's airports are sprawling labyrinths of security lines, delays, and overpriced water bottles. But in the golden age of aviation, airports were serene, stylish, and downright luxurious. Think leather armchairs, table service, and actual pianists playing in the terminal. No TSA lines, no body scanners, just a friendly clerk at a counter. Back in the 1950s and 60s, travelers could arrive 20 minutes before their flight, check in at a wooden desk, and walk straight to the aircraft, often across the tarmac, waving goodbye to their loved ones as they boarded. Terminals were designed for comfort and style. TWA's Flight Center at JFK was a mid-century masterpiece, more art gallery than airport. Some terminals even featured cocktail lounges with runway views where passengers smoked cigars and sipped martinis while flight attendants came to personally escort them to the plane. Air travel used to start with anticipation and elegance. Now, it's a rush through a fluorescent-lit mall. 1 point for the past. Number 9. You could dress and feel like a VIP. Once upon a time, flying was an event. Passengers dressed up, men wore suits and ties, women donned hats and gloves. It was a scene from Mad Men, not a pajama party. Flying in the 50s and 60s wasn't just about getting from point A to B, it was about being seen. Airlines encouraged this with luxurious lounges, elegant boarding processes, and personalized service. Flight attendants, then called stewardesses, wore custom designer uniforms, and the whole experience made passengers feel like jet-set royalty. Airlines like Pan Am and Hawaiian Airlines even handed out fresh orchids or floral leis to female passengers, especially on trans-Pacific flights, to create a sense of exotic luxury and make each traveler feel truly special. Today, airports are full of sweatpants, flip-flops, and stress. Back then, flying was fashion, not frustration. Number 8. Real meals on real plates. Let's be honest, airplane food today is more of a survival ration than a meal. But back then, you got lobster, champagne, carved roast beef, and yes, real cutlery. In the 1960s and 70s, even economy class was served multi-course meals on porcelain plates with metal knives and forks. Airlines competed for culinary bragging rights. Pan Am offered steak and caviar. Continental had chefs on board. Some airlines even had menus signed by the captain. On some long-haul routes, airlines even served meals on white linen tablecloths with fresh flowers and wine pairings, turning your tray table into a fine dining experience at 30,000 feet. Meals weren't just served, they were presented, often by a smiling flight attendant wheeling a cart full of piping hot options. Forget chicken or pasta, it was filet mignon or veal medallions. You didn't just fly, you dined in the sky. Number 7. Empty seats and spacious cabins. You remember personal space? It used to exist, especially on planes. Before deregulation and budget airlines intentionally left some seats empty to make the cabin feel more comfortable. Yeah, that's right, more space by design. Some airlines even blocked middle seats on purpose in economy, not for status, but as standard practice to enhance passenger comfort and maintain a premium image. On top of that, seat pitch, the distance between rows, was often over 36 inches in economy. Today it's around 28 to 31. You could stretch your legs, you could lean back without sparking a civil war, and since planes weren't packed to the brim, you might even get an entire row to yourself on a transatlantic flight. Flying wasn't about maximizing efficiency, it was about maximizing the experience. Number 6. The service was genuinely luxurious. Flight attendants weren't just there for safety, they were hospitality pros, trained in etiquette, style, and multilingual service. They offered passengers hot towels, drinks on silver trays, and conversations that didn't feel scripted. At airlines like Pan Am and Japan Airlines, flight attendants were trained at dedicated finishing schools to master posture, poise, and even how to serve champagne with precision. In first class, flight attendants would prepare beds, pour vintage wine, and sometimes even help passengers with wardrobe changes on long-haul flights. Some airlines even had coat check services and dressing rooms. Even in economy, you felt taken care of. Today, we're lucky if the crew makes eye contact. Back then, they remembered your name. Number 5. Lounges and onboard bars were the norm. Forget waiting at gate C27 next to a screaming toddler. In the 60s and 70s, airlines like Pan Am, TWA, and British Airways had full-service airport lounges with waiters, cocktails, even live music, and some of the luxury continued in the sky. The upper deck of the original Boeing 747, a bar and lounge area with couches and cocktail tables. Airlines like Qantas and Lufthansa had piano bars, yes, actual pianos on planes. Some airlines even offered in-flight happy hours with hors d'oeuvres and live bartenders. United Airlines famously served Mai Tais on flights to Hawaii in tiki-themed lounges. Passengers could mingle, drink, and enjoy a smoke. Yeah, smoking was allowed. While looking out over the clouds, it felt less like a flying metal tube and more like a flying nightclub. Number 4. First class was beyond imagination. Today's first class is often just a slightly bigger seat. But in the old days, it was a floating palace. Imagine a sleeper compartment with a pull-out bed, dining table, and even a private chef. Think butler service and full wardrobes. In the 1950s, airlines like KLM and TWA offered actual sleeping berths in both upper and lower levels, complete with real mattresses, Pullman-style curtains for privacy, reading lights, and even breakfast-in-bed service. On airlines like Singapore Airlines, you'd get Dom Perignon and Krug in crystal glasses. On Japan Airlines, passengers were once served sushi prepared mid-flight by onboard chefs. And on Concorde? Well, you were basically flying in a supersonic luxury capsule, complete with white glove service and a 4-course meal, all while crossing the Atlantic in under 3 hours. Flying wasn't just comfortable, it was elite-level pampering. We've traveled through comfort, cuisine, and charisma, but the top 3 reasons why flying used to be better? Well, they're not about glamour. They're about the magic that made flying feel unforgettable. Number 3. The planes were more iconic. From the curvy Lockheed Constellation to the double-decker 747, aircraft themselves were part of the allure. Flying wasn't just about the destination, it was about what you flew on. Each plane had a personality. The Boeing Stratocruiser featured sleeping bunks and a lower deck lounge. The Concorde was sleek, futuristic, and absurdly fast. Even the DC-10 and TriStar had rear lounges and wide cabin space. Today's aircraft are efficient but indistinguishable. Aluminum tubes with mood lighting. Yesterday's jets were engineering marvels with style and charisma. You could feel that difference. In short, aviation was undeniably much cooler back then, and I'm waiting for you in the comment section if you're thinking otherwise. Number 2. Flying felt like an adventure, not a chore. Flying in the old days meant something. It wasn't routine, it was rare. People took photos at the airport, clapped at landings, and treated boarding passes like golden tickets. In the 1950s, a round-trip economy ticket from New York to London on a Boeing 377 Stratocruiser cost about $580, around $12,000 today. You weren't a number, you were a guest. The journey itself was memorable. From check-in to touchdown, pilots made cockpit announcements that felt personal, kids got wing pins and cockpit visits, and no one was jaded. Every flight felt like a special occasion. Today, we board silently, put on headphones, and count down the hours. But once upon a time, passengers looked forward to flying, not just where it took them. Let me know your opinion in the comments below, but I think this is exactly what our entire society can be described as a whole. No more social interactions, no more genuine kindness to each other, and ultimately, less humanity. Number 1. It was about more than profit. Before deregulation in 1978, flying was federally managed to ensure consistency, safety, and quality. Airlines didn't compete on price, they competed on service, experience, and reputation. The result? You had legacy carriers building iconic brands, Pan Am, TWA, Braniff, all pouring resources into making their product unforgettable. From tail logos to cabin lighting, everything was part of the experience. You weren't just buying a ticket, you were joining a culture. Now it's about cost cutting and feeding the shareholders. Baggage fees, seat selection fees, carry-on charges, booking experiences. It's a race to the bottom, and we all feel it. In the old days, airlines wanted to impress. Today, they want to survive. And that, perhaps, is the biggest difference of all.